I came across these wonderful people at a Nashville AMA event, which I've sent you guys some stuff about them. It's American Marketing Association, our national chapter. It was the women's event that we went to, and Paul gave an amazing rap performance, actually, and talked about data and marketing. And there was an Inmark alum at this event, Kate Carradine, you guys know her, and she was like, these people need to be in front of the Inmark. So we got together and talked, and that was like a long time ago.
It was August.
And now they're finally here, so I'm introducing you to Paul and Kate Hickey. You'll get to know them really well over the next 2 Fridays. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about us, just to start off. We've worked with, again, I'm Kate, Paul. You have us for 8 hours, so I hope this works, because that's what it is. And we're trying to do that, so that's signed in too. We have worked with lots of different people, from startups to mid-sized, large businesses. We do web development, social media, SEO, anything digital marketing, we do. We like to say yes to everything. Right now, Paul is really geeking out on some Alexa stuff, so we're trying to always stay ahead of the game. I'm a former educator, I have my master's in education, and for me, I think this is a big part of, I feel drawn to the idea that you should teach people to do this, to be able to do this for themselves. I think that we would be remiss in not doing that, just because I think people take web development and say, hey, I'm a developer, and you're going to work with developers like this, because they're almost all like this, where they take they take that info and they want to be special, and they want to be like, no, we can't do that. When in reality, you can do it. If you just YouTube, Google, and have a little bit of grind, you can do it. So we like this idea of, we created this academy, so people that run little small businesses, mom and pop shops, can come in and learn how to do this for themselves. And I feel really passionate about that as an educator, former educator. So you're kind of getting this as a hybrid of, we made this for you, but also I kept some stuff in here because I want you to understand sort of what you're walking into, where a lot of people don't know what to you is natural. Does that make sense to you? Especially when we're talking about social media. For you, it's just like, oh, duh. But for them, they're like, wait, an infographic. Like, where can I get that? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're, oh, I never thought of like an infographic as a post. That's just kind of not in their wheelhouse. So I kept some of that stuff in just so you can see, like, people are paying us for this information because to them it's not natural per se. So I'm going to kind of give you a hybrid of our course / your own avenues. Segue a little bit here. This is exciting for us because we've worked on the agency side. We've white labeled our services for agencies sometimes, and it's going to be real fun to just go uncut for you, because for us usually it's clients, so we're having to tiptoe around like get off brand. Like that's what I wanted to say in there. I don't want to say it. You know what I mean? Like thinking get off brand, like Vandy, get off brand. Like be funny. Like we're talking about an alum thing earlier. Can I get your name? Sorry. Olivia. So I'm pointing at you. Like, chicken in the hat. Sorry, Olivia. I don't want to do that for the next 8 hours, but Olivia and I were sitting next to each other, and they're talking about this alum event, and I'm thinking like, play with it, like talk about the alum, like, hey, all the mom jeans are back, like we were mom jeans, like 82, class of 82. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people are starting to connect with, and a lot of people that we work with are not willing to go off brand. They have to put their logo on everything. Well, like now I know it's an ad, so I don't want to interact with it. So you're actually, it's the opposite of old school, like where people are thinking. It's nice to be able to just say how I feel, real talk, and that's what I can do with you. Stop us at any time if you want to just like interject. I'm a high school teacher, and I taught for underprivileged and underserved youth. So yeah, if that helps you, just yell at me and you're not bothering me. These are just some people that we've worked with recently. We launched a White Rising website. If you've seen their copy, it's good. They have nitro in the whole line. It's good times. These are our learning talkers. I don't want to go over them at length, but just to give you an idea, this is what we're going to be taking a look at today.
So just to add to Kate's point, like there's nothing that's not relevant in some way right now in the business world to all of these slides. So you'll see some things that you might be like, oh, well, of course. Like if we were managing a brand digital presence, we would have a message like that. But to Kate's point, 90% of businesses that we work with really need to be pushed to go off brand, and what we mean by that is just connect with your target, give your target audience what they would actually see as entertaining or valuable digitally, either in their news feed or in email marketing or wherever they might see. So
I'm putting on a laser pointer, but does that happen? It's fine. So if you want to take a look at this, a lot of people slam Facebook, and I know that I'm not a huge Facebook user. It feels older to me, the platform does, but a lot of your target audience is going to be older. So I know right now Facebook does not have the best reputation amongst social media platforms, but remember that you're not always targeting yourself. Thank you. Awesome. So if you take a look at like outdoor campaigns, you're looking at look at the monthly cost. I mean, it's just crazy. And when you're looking at Facebook, you can be down in way lower than this at a monthly cost. Are we seeing fantastic results? So I think gone are the days of TV, because we're not watching our TV. We're watching our phone while we're like laying, on the couch with the TV on, but I'm looking at my phone. So be thinking of that. And that's all of us, parents and grandparents included. So you guys are in such a cool place because you get that, where a lot of the people that you're going to be working in agencies, you're going to have to be really softly explaining that and reminding them of that, because in their mind, their head is like not letting go of this. Because it's what they know. That's where their hookups are. That's what they've been used to. That's where like they have their file folder full of like pamphlets. That's just what they know. So you're going to have to really, and we need you to start to pivot this to where it's actually going. It's already there. It's too late at this point. Slide. Like we need a symbol or something. So I want to talk about the data before you begin any of your campaigns to figure out your target audience. Facebook makes this super, super easy, and you can drill down and figure out exactly who is already liking your page and serving them more of that. We can talk about everything from age demographics, of course, to male, female, what their interests and hobbies are based on what you've put as your everything from where you went to school to what your interests are. So this is just an example. All of this, by the way, that you see is coming from Facebook Business Manager and Ads Manager. And we're going to have you set up a campaign if we have like two kind of challenges before we see you again. And one of them is to set this up. This might be good. I don't know, a lot of you are going in different directions, but I'll let you choose which one makes more sense for you, at least have some experience with hands-on in this platform. But as you can take a look, if you go back, 94% is web. Is this that Sarah Hoover? Is this the fashion chick from Twosa? Yeah.
Well, so sorry, real quick. Facebook Audience Insights tool is where this comes from. So if you Google that, the way that we use this is generally around, to Kate's point earlier, there's media buyers out there for agencies and for brands that are hanging on to like the traditional media. And so you're about to start to navigate through some of that, whether you're going to be on the agency side or the client side. And so what you'll hear is like, our audience isn't on Facebook, our audience isn't on Instagram, our audience isn't on Snapchat. Point is, this is free tools. This is a Facebook Audience Insights tool. So you can type in any kind of vertical, anything like that, and you can see the data around. So you can kind of show that to those people that are kind of disputing or figuring out whether or not their audience might not be on Facebook, but we want to use a tool like this to figure it out. So that's what this data comes from.
And if you're taking a look here, the relationship status, 75% of these people are married. That's going to change your content, and how you're serving it, for sure. And you might take yourself out of your own headspace, where if it's a fashion brand, fashion, right, is your forte. That's going to take you out of that, where you're thinking of like hot chicks. Get out of that. They're married. So how else can we sell this clothing item to a married female now who's got to get money, and like hiding the shopping bags in the trunk from the husband? Now you're changing. I'm just saying. I know somebody might. Do you guys have heard about the Facebook algorithm and EdgeRank and how it works? No. I'm gonna just. If you say yes, no. Okay. Facebook algorithm works. It's called EdgeRank. This is like how it was created. I don't like to read to you, but I think it's important that this piece. Go ahead, if you could take a second and do that. So the answer is engagement, engagement, interaction, interaction, interaction. You've noticed this with your stuff. When you keep liking the stupid memes from your whatever friend that's like retweeting or whatever, like Nickelback, whatever, making jokes about something, you are now seeing that over and over again until you hit that unfollow, right? So every time, it's like you're voting. First base is going to be like a like, second base is going to be a comment, third base is going to be a share, and maybe fourth base is home. Fourth base, fifth base, shut up. So home plate would be a combination of maybe 2 and 3 of those items to really have you ranked really high in edge rank. Now here's the problem, like, and we're gonna talk about this a little bit later, like we have a CPA firm that we work for. Like, how am I gonna get you to be like, man, I like that CPA, I guess that. You see, I mean, it becomes a challenge on some of these, in some cases, and depending on which platform. To get an Instagram like is not that hard. To get an Instagram comment might be a little harder, especially when it's something very visual. So you've got to be thinking about how am I going to engage the user, because that's the only way that I'm going to stay relevant. Back in the day, you used to throw a face, like a page like to everyone. You're like, oh, Chick-fil-A, like, oh yeah, like you just liked everything, right? Ask your mom, you're just like, yeah, I like everything. Because you didn't know that you were actually now like, yo, now I'm looking at the cow, like, ah. So those kinds of things, Facebook figured that out and said, yeah, just because you liked, I don't know why I just have to do like this, like the side profile. Do you see what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to be like, anyway. So now that you've liked that page, Facebook realized, wait, we were just throwing the courtesy like, but I don't really like want your content. So EdgeRank said, okay, abort, just because they liked it. Now they have to not only like our page, but now they need to like our stuff within the page in order to keep serving it. So just because we have clients with 700, I think it's about 1,900 Bailey followers, is that right? Shame on me, this is Bailey.
19,000.
19,000. This is Bailey Robbins, she's our content strategist, and she's great. You're so cute, look at her. Anyway, so with that said, just because we've got 19,000 followers for one of our accounts, we've got a problem where like, they all are not served our stuff. Just the page likes are not cutting it. So we've got to really keep trying to engage those 1,900, and how can we do that? A cool way, sidebar, is to serve things only to people that like your page. You can serve ads only to people that like your page to continue to get them engaged, because they're your ambassadors already and they already like you. Anyway, the second piece about this with EdgeRank is, let's say that we have 19,000 followers for this campaign. It's a spray for vitamins, created by these two doctors. Kind of interesting, actually. If I post something there, only 1/3 of the followers see it. So it's about frequency of posting too. That's what EdgeRank requires: frequency and interaction. So you got to be thinking about how we're going to serve those folks. I have a little video from Obama. I don't know if you've seen this Letterman piece. It's on Netflix. It's really worth a watch. Have you seen it? It's good, right? Letterman needs to like lose the beard, but other than that, I really like it. I don't know what you said.
Foreign governments, etc., can in fact manipulate that and propagandize.
I was under the impression that Twitter would be the mechanism by which truth was told around the world.
If you are getting all your information off algorithms being sent through a phone, and it is just reinforcing whatever biases you have, which is the pattern that develops. And there was an interesting experiment, not a big scientific experiment, but just an experiment that somebody did during the revolution that was taking place in Egypt, in Tahrir Square. Somebody took sort of a liberal, a conservative, and quote a moderate, and sent them on a Google search. Egypt, type it in. And for the conservative, it came up, Muslim Brotherhood. And for the liberal, it came up Tahrir Square. And for the moderate, it came up vacation spots on the Nile. But whatever your biases were, that's where you were being sent. And that gets more and more reinforced over time. That's what's happening with these Facebook pages, where more and more people are getting their news from. at a certain point, you just live in a bubble. And that's part of why our politics is so polarized right now. I think it is a solvable problem, but I think it's one that we have to spend a lot of time
It seems like a valuable tool that is turned against us.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. That's a little depressing too. Like if you think about it too long. It is, isn't it? Like it's like we're only getting what we already have. It's kind of creepy in that way. The reason I'm showing it to you is I think you need to realize that it's going to be hard to break into with folks. And so how are you going to do that? Like, while yes, you've got this great post, it's beautiful, and you think it's cool. The problem is, how is that going to be served across these platforms and to people that may or may not be already engaged with you? I mean, if you look in your own feeds and you keep thinking about your own feeds, you get so much repetition, right? So how are you going to navigate that for your brand? I talked about this earlier. When you increase the post frequency by 3 times a day, remember, you're not seeing 3 unique posts as the user because it's only serving it to 1/3 of your people. So some people, and a lot of our clients are like, I am not going to post 3 times a day. That is obnoxious. I will lose people. I get what you're saying, yes, but just from the data, you're not, because I'm only seeing 1 post every day from you, even though you post 3 times. Because that's what EdgeRank does. EdgeRank is not going to let me, as the marketer, on a platform that is not really where I'm supposed to be, and I'm not welcome there. As a marketer, I'm not going to serve you all 3 of those ads. So that's why you have to up that frequency, which is okay to just repurpose. When you post on Instagram 1 to 3 times per day, again, with 5 hashtags, you're going to see a lot more. And if you've seen any of those contests, how many of you have done those like repost and tag? Repost and tag? Because like you're after the whatever cute it is, boots or whatever it is. It's like that's what you're trying to win that too. So that's the move. That is the move, because that is interaction at like 4th base. Just kidding. Now I like 4th base. I'm trying to make it happen. Again, each post is only seen by 1/3 of your followers. We're going to give this all to you as well, so don't feel like you need to take notes. Can I say that? Don't take notes. If you want to break through the algorithm, think about yourself. That's really what you need to do. It's like, why would I touch this? And I should say, why would I click on this? So think about yourself. You want to laugh at it. You want to cry. You want to like have an emotional connection. You want to win, and you want to feel inspired. You want to share that information because you feel like it's so important that other people should hear it as well. What does that mean for your brand? Go off brand. Go off brand. Everyone's head's going to explode. You're going to put the pieces back onto their neck, stroke their hair. It's fine, but a lot of people are not going to want to hear this. And this is when you're going to come through and say, look, if we're going to do this correctly on a digital presence, we've got to stop putting our logo on everything, because now we know it to be ingenuine. And I know you're trying to sell me something. We just talked about this earlier in the alum presentation. So this is kind of where you need to be thinking. Like, how can I be adding value? Yes.
When you say go off brand, do you mean just like stop doing the normal, like expected marketing that people?
Totally. Share the stupid video of the kid laughing that's like trending right now. You share it too. Like Friday, I just posted for our client, and I'm waiting for the call. Like Friday, and like it's like this kid like doing it. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people are gonna like it, and so I'm giving their people, and they're not gonna like this. You see what I'm saying? I'm giving their people a silly video, but it's gonna be the highest one that they have for the week, because they don't want to see the like medical stand.
Right, so the CFO and the marketing person want the brand message on point to sell the product. So you guys are going to have to navigate this at some point on either side, whether you're servicing brands or whether you're working for brands. And to Kate's point, you guys are going to figure out a way to navigate it, and it's going to be around how valuable these types of posts are versus the other types. And there's data for that, and there's just looking at the shares and the likes and the comments. So Then where she says put their heads back together, I think of show them how much more engagement and results that intermixing those posts in with the salesy posts actually resulted in ROI. And that's where, so at first they're gonna get pushed back, their heads are gonna explode, then you put it back together with the ROI on it. And so.
Because it just can't be ask anymore. It's like we're on the social media because we want to see and be entertained. That's our TV right now. So if you're full of commercials, I'm over you. I'm not gonna like a picture of a medical stand. Like, and what part, what is likable about that? So you gotta make sure that you are really engaging them. And so that's when you turn to whomever you're working with and you say, well, yeah, but look at this data. Why is there a picture of like, so-and-so at like our staff party? Well, like, yeah, because it's a picture of a real person on Facebook, which is meant to be a personal platform. So you can always go back to the data, and that's kind of what we rely on. And then when you keep adding that value, and then you have the ask, now we're listening, as opposed to you just sell, because nobody will be seeing it anyway.
Hey Kate, I think she had a question.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's kind of backtracking, and y'all might cover this, but you mentioned the giveaways and that kind of stuff. Isn't Facebook soon not? They don't want people to do that kind of stuff because it is salesy in a way. Or isn't there something like if you post, giveaway, or it has the word free or something like that, but they don't like that?
They do have policies that they'll kind of flag. And so the best way to navigate that is to try what you want to try. And then they'll tell you, like you'll get a notification within the platform as to whether or not it violates their policy. So the ad won't run until it clears their policy. You can actually go back and forth with them, either automated, trying to like revise the ad, run it again, or revise the post, boost it again, or you can even chat with a specialist now. Like they're very much like how Google is reaching out to businesses to try to get them to run AdWords. Facebook is now reaching out to businesses all the time with your own like personal rep because they want you to run ads and boost posts. And so it's a good question, but the best way we've navigated is just to try it.
My short answer to that is they change it all the time. So like you just keep changing your game. You just keep pivoting every time. It's like the defense, and you just keep working around it. This is just a cool graph that I found that I just really believe in. Too many promotional messages is the reason that people are stopping following you and not touching any of your posts. Of course, you want to make sure that you're differentiating things. This is kind of where it goes into the coaching piece for some of these businesses that we work with, and some of these like CMOs or whomever they send to our academy. But we talk about making a variety of posts instead of just that stagnant, same picture and like the text. Talking about photo carousels, videos, live. I don't need to tell you this because you're savvy in this stuff for the most part. I'll tell you what's kind of crazy that does really well is, well, I don't think it's crazy, but for me, and maybe that's just I'm cerebral, but articles do well. Like taking CNN and then somehow linking it, or MSN or whomever it is, and linking it to your brand, and then trying to maybe reach the audience that way, because a lot of us are getting our news on Facebook. So if there's something interesting, that's stuff that people like to be served and like to interact with, and it doesn't feel so like salesy, if that makes sense. Those do really well. Blogs do really well. We're reading people's blogs on Facebook now and on Instagram. Like, remember it used to be back in the day, like three little lines on Instagram, and now I find myself like 12 paragraphs deep, like, why am I reading about this makeup tutorial? Like, I don't even know you. And I'm like, but I think that's what's happening is we are now, again, because we're so much more focused on our phone and away from our TVs, that we're reading. And, it's becoming our book and everything on our personal devices. Stop me at any point. We good? Polls are newer. They are not getting a lot of traction. People just don't care to like answer it, but that's today, and it's going to be different. I have to update this every time. We do it because so much changes. I try to give people ideas. A lot of people that you're going to be walking into are in like a content rut. They're stuck and they don't know what to say. They're like, well, for example, I'll give you this medical company again, or like the CPA. They're like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, you guys just moved buildings. Let's take a picture of the building. Like, what are the best taco joints like around here? Of course, they don't want to talk about that, so I have to convince them about why you should. But that's the real stuff, like the good stuff, I guess, that that plays to where we're consuming our media. But these are just some ideas that we have for some folks that get stuck and that we use. Excuse me. I think this is really cool, and I think that this is another way that you're going to sell this to others. Is back in the day, you had to like knock knock ding dong. Do you want to have True Green lawn service? Those days are gone. And how cool is it that you have your customer base, but I can talk to you. And not only can I talk to you, but I can shout you out. Like for everyone, I can talk to you anytime I want. And I don't think that people are using that as often as they should. And those that do it really, really well because you feel special, you feel heard, you feel like, man, they went on here and they tagged me and then they sent me a book or they sent me this makeup, kit. And so, oh my gosh, that's so personal. I mean, I can't believe it. But you have all that demographic, you have that information, you know these folks, they follow you. I was thinking about doing this one dude. I have this campaign, and every time I put something, he likes it. I'm gonna go find him, is what I'm gonna do, probably in the next couple weeks if he keeps liking it, and I'm gonna ask my client if I can send him some product. Because he's the Lone Ranger for me. Like, he's just liking everything, and I wanna appreciate him. And then and ask him to, of course, like for the ask him, can you post this, and can you tag us? But I think people are gun shy for this reason. I kind of can't figure that out. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think people are not willing to go out and get these people to do this? Genuinely, like I'm asking anyone. You know what I mean? Like, what's the fear?
I feel like some part of is kind of doing the influencer base. I mean, it's not necessarily an influencer if you're just giving away something and promoting the company, doing something nice for that person, but it gives them that fear that that person might be talking about the company and they don't have the control over it. So
yeah, relationship control. Yeah,
I think that's a great.
That's a good call.
We experience that all the time.
And then what's the ROI of me sending you a makeup kit? To me, I mean, I see a huge ROI because now I'm like, oh my gosh, I just liked their stuff on Facebook and they sent me this? Oh God, that's such customer service. Because we're not in a place right now where we're going into brick and mortar and having those customer experiences anymore either. So we need to reach out to our customer because they're not coming in. They're buying, like, I bought deodorant off Pinterest. Like, what am I doing? What's happening? Like, why? But like, I think, but the point is that like, I'm not coming in to CVS to buy my deodorant anymore because they don't work.
Well, and this is so important.
Sorry.
Such great stuff.
But you know what I mean? Not only do you go, I'm also,
Are you done talking about buying
I'm not.
Okay. This is super important though because as you're going out and working with people who are going to give you pushback on this stuff, it's so easy to send your biggest advocate a sample kit of your product and then just watch what happens from there. I mean, that person is gonna, you don't even have to ask them to do it. They're the ones in Kate's example, they're gonna do it. And then like, when I talk about navigating things, I mean, instead of pushing real hard to try to get a budget for social, you can say, hey, can I just get, like, we've got this awesome brand advocate out there. Could I just get approval to send them a sample kit? And then that'll be something that somebody who's a little bit more worried about the ROI, they'll probably be able to, okay, let's get that approved if it's your immediate supervisor or something. And then you do it, and that would be a good way to just kind of prove the concept of what we're talking about. I know I can tell that you guys like already have, like, you're already bought into that, so it's just a matter of like helping you guys with, activating on it.
I just think people think of social media as so impersonal, but that's because you think of it that way. You can think of it as super personal if you want to and if you choose to. It's all going to be in how you approach it. I like this quote, if you want to talk to people while they consume their entertainment, you need to be their entertainment. I think that really resonates, for sure. Infographics. Like this one. Y'all, like when I do this, infographic, must find infographic. Like to you, it's really just normal. But to other people, I think that are, you know, a little older, that's something that they haven't thought of yet. Again, we talk about interactions, equal engagement, asking explicitly, hey, do you think that soda? What do you think about this? We'd love to hear your opinion on this. This article has postable results. So like it was for parents for this this woman that we work for who has like teething rings, and she's talking about sleep. So she wanted to know, hey moms, how many hours of sleep do you get? And it just murdered because all the parents were like, 4, like they're trying to like almost beat each other in like the lack of sleep that they have, but they all kept talking about it. And so then it became this super long string of tons of interactions and likes and laughs. So these kinds of posts are what are going to do really well for you.
Sorry to cut you off. What do you guys think they were posting before that? We didn't tell you what their product is, but they're teething. They're jewelry for teething. They were posting all their teething necklaces and bracelets and like just beautiful product imagery.
Yeah.
But to Kate's point earlier, no one's gonna see it because it's just noise in their feed and they're going to the next thing and they're not engaging with it. So when they do that, results happen. Got a question in the back?
Amount of followers you need to have before, or that you would recommend having, like your page or something, before you ask them a question like that? Because I've heard like mixed things of like, oh, you need to have an audience, like you don't want to ask a question, have like, what do you say?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm sure if there's like a standard of like,
Yeah.
have X number of followers first.
Okay, so real talk. This is so pathetic. Ready? Here we go. And like back in like July, we were like, okay, we as a company need to practice what we preach, right? Nobody has time to do social media because you're grinding on your own business. So we need to practice what we preach. We need to just, like we need to do this. We've got to like, of course, right? This is the embarrassing part. So we had like a follower, I think it was my mom. And so I'm like, we have to figure out, we've got to do this. And here's where people get stuck. And so like, well, I only have like 7 followers, so like, why would I post this? And the answer was more good content. And that's all we've done. And now we're up to like, in like, probably not even 8 months, like close to 1,000 followers.
Close to 1,000.
Yeah, and so in that 8 months, 6 month span, we're now at 1,000 followers, and we've got lots and lots of. We just keep putting the content out there.
We're posting like 2 or 3 times a day, and that's really what's helped. So yeah, like even if you start with 0,
If you do that and you wait until, it will never happen.
never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen. So you just have to just keep on. It's a long game. Facebook is definitely any social media is a long game. All of a sudden, one day, I mean, if you go back to any of these brands, there was a couple months where they went from 100 followers to 14,000 followers. There was that month for them. So you just have to kind of be in it for the long haul. And you have to remind yourself that it is a long game, and it's gonna take a while, and it's gonna be work, but so is any customer acquisition. I mean, so is Ding Dong, True Green Guy. I mean, same concept.
And I'll just add, like, the way that like Megan mentioned, I like hip hop music, and when I find an artist who has like a catalog of songs that they've built up over the years, like, I might find them when they already have 1 million followers and they're on like their debut album, but then but like if they only have the 10 songs, then that's to their detriment because I'm trying to find where's their other 400 songs, and so that's what I think of when you say like what'll happen is like you might ask the question when you have 5 followers, but then when you get up to 1,000, you have interest in your brand and people are going to go back through your catalog of posts, and Instagram and Facebook are going to feed you. They're going to feed them your earlier posts when you start to follow them, and same thing on LinkedIn. And so then that question will get answered. To Kate's point, it's a long game. So don't get stuck on how many followers you have. It's super hard. 99.9% of the people that you're gonna run into out there will think the exact same way. So hopefully that.
And I would argue to say, forget the follower number, because how engaged are the followers? Are you Chick-fil-A throwback like 99 where everyone, like what? So what point, I mean, your followers aren't even necessarily a metric sometimes onto your success. The individual post might be, for sure. Did you have a question?
I don't know, it's kind of an anecdote and kind of a question, but I don't know if it's bad like when you're just starting out to maybe like solicit a couple engagements. Like I'm interning for some restaurants, and I know next week I'm gonna do a post that's like, tag your happy hour crew, and I'm gonna make everybody here and like all my roommates do it.
Yes.
Do
Just
it.
to, like,
No shame.
Is it tacos?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's Chinese. But it's good.
Solicit.
But like one of the restaurants is just newer and like doesn't have as much engagement as the other ones. So like already I make my roommates like all the pictures and stuff like that to just try and like build it.
Whatever
Yes! That's exactly what you do.
whatever audience you have, try to get them engaged with the other thing.
Yeah. But
Totally.
also think about this too, like, now all these cute girls are eating tacos. Sorry, it's tacos for me.
It's
What is it?
It's Chinese. It's like nice, cool. They have like lanterns.
You can tell them.
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
I'm the Asian
Tell
friend.
them the name of the restaurant.
Oh, Tanso?
Is whatever the
Spell it.
group, so like Mockingbird.
Like Shohan, Mockingbird.
They live in Williams.
Okay.
I know.
Sushi?
I'll eat anything.
No.
So
I'm sorry.
now you've got, cute girls that have been tagged here and people talking about it, and then it's this cute picture, and now everybody's gonna repost. I mean, fourth base.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna happen. Have two more times. Two more times. Thank you. I appreciate you. Entertaining, engaging, personal, like these are all things that we talked about. Asking people explicitly, saying, tag an army wife. This was somebody that we worked with, and that one did really well. Hashtags on Facebook, they're starting to come over. I mean, of course, that was an Instagram thing. Now we're starting to see them in Facebook. I'll let you kind of just take a look at this without reading to you.
I do that.
I know.
Is that why you put it in there?
No. But I think the most important thing is a couple really work because like working with a reclaimed lumber, like a cool furniture company, I would do like Nashville artisan or like Nashville woodworking. That's how people were finding us. I could figure it out and I could look through the analytics on the back end, and that's how that was working. You can't go wrong with it. If nothing else, it's going to organize you. For one that Bailey and I are working on right now, we just started like a Feature Friday thing that we're doing. And so it's going to be cool to go back and see all of our Feature Fridays. And for their like account executives, they can as well. So if nothing else, it's maybe organizational, so something to think about. It's good for cross-promotion and branding. And of course, it's practical. Editorial content calendar. At some point, you will be having to do this in some capacity. So it's really about building out the good, diversity for the campaign. So do we have a little bit of news? Do we have a little bit of infographic? Do we have, are these 6 target audiences? So have we done something for this restaurant, like right for the young crowd, for the happy hour peeps? And then have we served the the older folks, maybe on a discount for senior citizens on Wednesdays? How have we done all of that? Because what happens if you don't is you're just like, gotta post. And it doesn't really have, we didn't really have any forethought going into that. So you really need to strategize. Okay, every Monday, we're gonna try to hit that, happy hour crew will be not a Monday, right? You're just deciding happy hour at Friday from noon to 4. That's when you would probably serve those. Sunday after church brunch, like peeps. Have we talked to them? So a content calendar is going to keep you organized in that way, and also keep you to where it's nice and easy to go back and pull old stuff. Because remember, only 1/3 of people saw it. So you got to repurpose. Don't be afraid of that. I think people are trying to come up with new content all the time, and it's wearing them out and they quit. Yeah.
Have y'all found any, or do you recommend any softwares or programs that have been best for this as far as tracking? Because in my internship now, they have a pretty Excel document, but it's really not what they want, and they can't decide if they should use a HubSpot integration or Hootsuite, or so. Do you have any recommendations?
Well, honestly, the way to make it work is we just post individually to each platform. I know that that's not the way that you would want to do it, but if you want to do it right, that's how you should do it.
Yeah.
We've used Buffer before.
So I love this question, and what you guys have been talking about made me think of this answer. So
The question is
what's
what's the easy answer?
Well, so
It's hard.
Well, do people Do you guys, when you post on social media, do you automate your posts through Buffer? No, right? I mean, like for your personal, like posting for your friends, do you do for your personal? Okay. I've never met an individual person like at a bar on Snapchat or on Instagram or whatever that's like, hold on, let me send this one through Buffer to all of my things.
Right.
So my thing is like, I get where that's coming from. It's a well-intended, like, your question's awesome. That question happens in every single company that we ever talk to. They ask the same thing. Actually, in the interview process of them figuring out if they want to hire us, they want to know, like, what kind of chops do we have, because have we worked with all 47,000 of those tools that exist out there? And, like, our answer is, like, always, well, guys, like, we could do it if that's a requirement to work for you, but honestly, like, we're just going to tell you right now, we don't do it because it doesn't work. And
because
so,
a Facebook post and an Instagram post are two different people. Like when I like see the little Instagram camera, like I'm going there for a visual experience. Like when I'm on Facebook, I'm there for like crap.
So
do you know what I mean? Like you're kind of there for crap. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm going a lot faster, and I'm really rarely slowing down. I'm slowing down the news, but I'm really just hauling it. Now, for Instagram, I'm there for a different reason, and so you really need to focus on not necessarily repurposing those things, and I hate that because then I have to do it.
yeah,
I hate
it's
it.
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And like, I'm grateful to have Bailey there, but like, we'll tag team it, and like, I'll be over the Instagram part because it just has to be so beautiful. I can't do this anymore. So like, we'll tag team and kind of, see if we can't stockpile some stuff to use. When we go gather something like content from a client, we'll just be there for the whole day and just grind. I get tons of pictures, tons of ideas, boomerangs, all this kind of stuff. We dressed in scrubs, went to Walmart. That was funny for that medical client we had last week. It was fun.
And they're getting stuff done. Like that's the thing with the tool, with the Buffer. We have friends that work at Buffer and these other tools, and they try to make it to where like you can make it native to each platform. So kudos to them for doing that. Like that's awesome. And sometimes you're never going to be able, you might work at a brand that's too big. You have to use a platform like that, and I get that. But like the risk too is that like what Kate just described, we're getting stuff done posting natively. Versus when you're posting through an automated feed, you're looking at the planning of the feed and the data and the analytics so much that you don't post as much as you need to post to get the results either. So you can tell we're really passionate about not using the tools, but we get why people
I wish
use
I
them.
could. I mean, that would be so great.
If it worked, we would.
I think their thing is like the organization and
Sure,
metrics.
yeah.
That's their thought, and that they can go back and have an organized way to see, we post all these. But
Totally.
I get what you're saying too.
And like if you use the tools for that, then that's awesome. Like if you, yeah, that's a great question.
When you have the audience column, so that, because I kind of like organize sort of who you're targeting and like what the message should be, but also can you go in, like, I worked a little bit with Google Analytics, and they were always trying to like figure out ways of targeting better. Like, is there a way that you could target, the brides to be better?
Oh yes, friend. We're gonna get in that right now. Oh, I'm so excited you said it. Yes, like all day, which is really the cool stuff. And then it makes your content go so much further because it's not just like this huge shotgun approach. It's really like going really narrowly into like that niche that we talked about earlier. I think people forget the research on the plan part and they're just like post. But the research and the planning are like a huge piece of this, figuring out kind of who we're talking to. But the great part is you can't mess it up. Like back in the day, if you printed 50,000 flyers and 12 people picked them up at Sonic, like great. Where this is like nobody was hurt, nobody wasted their money. So it's empowering in that way, because you can't really mess it up. Again, we talked about Buffer already. Medium is fantastic for a couple reasons. Do you know Medium? Do you use this? Yeah. What do you use it for?
No, I don't use it, but I know I have friends who post like things that they write, just like
Yeah. Remember Tumblr? It's like Tumblr for like adults. Okay. It's a good read. Or I'm describing it right.
Yeah.
I was like, am I missing something? So Medium is great because it's going to create inbound links for SEO to your site. It's also going to give another platform for you to post. So when we have with our clients where we want them to blog, right? That goes over well.
They hate that.
They hate it because it needs to be about 600 to 800 words to like have enough, have enough meat in it to be able to garner some traffic for SEO purposes. But then we say, hey, look, you can put it on Facebook, you put it on Instagram with a cool graphic, put it on Medium, and now you created all these inbound links to help drive traffic to your site as well. And now you've got outbound links and just another channel. And Outlet Medium is free, 3 million daily users, I believe. Is that right? 3 million-ish daily users. So,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
About that. You guys already know about it. Is there? Okay, so I'm just gonna.
3 million, 30 million, whatever. It's like the same thing, so. I love Medium too because you set up your profile in the beginning and it says like, what are you interested in? And it's always really fun. It can get down to who you are. And a lot of LinkedIn people are getting their stuff from Medium. So if you're there, now, granted, let's say that you're with Asian restaurant called Tanso. I'll forget that. Tanso. Let's say you're Tanso and you write a blog. Chances are Tanso's mom and dad are the only folks reading the blog. But that's okay because, you have to, almost to your point, you have to start somewhere and then it builds. But if you don't start any of this and you don't, your SEO is never going to improve. So what's your other plan? Is I guess another way to look at it. And some of the stuff, it will stick because somebody will put it on their LinkedIn. I mean, like I said, it goes from, somebody went from 4,000 to 14,000, but not without putting out content. We'll talk a little bit about boosted posts, and this is going to answer your question. Boosted posts, I don't know if any of you working on social media besides Tansa? Yeah, okay, so you see boost the post, and within boosted post and within ads manager, have you seen that you can do this and get really nitty gritty and just talk about demographics for brides, demographics for age, so you can go back into your audience that we talked about at the beginning of the presentation and really take a look at that and say, okay, I want to serve this to, she knows with Tanso, forget going in a 30-mile radius, people from Thompson Station are probably not going, so let's get it down to the 10, 5-mile radius and offer XYZ specials. Let's only offer it for date night for Valentine's Day and do this for men that are between the ages of 18 and 30. You can do all of that. So the thing that's great about this, and everyone's going to love to hear this, is when you spend your $70 on this ad spend, you are spending it exactly where you should. No money gets wasted. So that's the data that's awesome to bring back to a client or to an agency.
And in the second half today, we'll talk about real details around deploying ads as well, and what the difference are between ads and boosted posts.
And for some of you that aren't using this, I'll just show you. If you put in here and I type in, I don't know, happy hour, or girls clubs, or book clubs here. It will start to give me a lot of other cool suggestions that they have for interests and demographic groups. More on Facebook boosted posts. I think, and a lot of people don't know this, so if this is old hat to you, awesome, because you're armed with really good information that people don't, they're like, what, I can do that? This was for Twice Daily, the gas station. We just redid their website and we're talking about social, and we can really narrow this down to females, coffee lovers, 18 to 40, who have kids that play sports, who are 15 miles in Nashville at 4:20, who are going to practice to get their kid. I can go that deep into just targeting those women. And the audience reach might be 3,000 people. Perfect. That's perfect, because I'm serving this cute little ad just to you, and I didn't waste any money, and now I'm going to have all the analytics behind it. This is what boosted post the reach looks like, and for $20, we're reaching 3,000 to 7,800 people at $20. $20, that's nothing. Facebook is now smart enough to know that this is a pay-to-play. It was not at first, it is now. So if you're a marketer and you're not putting some money behind every post, then you're probably not going to be seen. So we like to say put $5 behind every single post, upwards of 20. And it kind of it depends. But if you're not paying, now they've gotten to the point where you need to pay to play if you're going to be on Facebook. Yeah.
If you're serving up like ads and then also boosting posts, if like you're paying for the ads, do you also have to be paying for your boosted posts in order to reach more people or to show up more, or if you're already just paying for ads, not boosting posts, is that okay? Is there like a different algorithm, I guess, that they use?
Yeah, you can run, we're always running both at the same time.
Okay.
So we'll get pretty granular on that later, but that's a good question.
We talked about boosting to your own followers. Sometimes this is a good idea. Great for sales or promos, like saying, hey, look, you already like us, so here's something that's just exclusive for you. And that one does really well. You can also, this is a chance where you can say, hey, followers we already have, we want you to now go find other followers for us or help us kind of with this endeavor because you already love our, our product. And that's one that people forget to use. This is what you're going to be seeing with the results. And if you're looking at cost per engagement, we're looking at 45 cents, 47 cents like for that engagement, which is just nothing to extend brand awareness and to get people to click all the way through. Stop me if you have any questions here. These are some good resources. We're going to talk a little bit later. We're going to use Canva because Canva is everything. And Fonto's on your phone. So does anybody use Fonto? Yeah? Fonto's great. Is Canva just, like as an app? Because you couldn't use Canva on your phone, that would be a nightmare. But Fonto is Canva sort of just for your mobile device. Of course, Boomerang. Pexels is stock videos and images. Have you used it before? Pexels? Love Pexels. And so what's the other one that we like now? I need to add it in here.
Pexels also has videos. Well,
Where's she going? She said, hang on.
So videos.pexels.com.
What's it called?
Stock videos.
I'm going to find it.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but it's a really good one.
It's good.
And the pictures are really high quality. Canva's great medium. We talked about the audience insights. So this is just a rundown. You're going to have all this.
So we do have Buffer and Hootsuite on the deck, and we have to be, cognizant of to your point earlier of we know certain brands and companies are going to use them. So we do help facilitate that.
Okay, free time. Groups of 3. Does that make it even? If it doesn't, just make it work out. I want to see if how you would deal with this and how you would approach this. In a group of 3, and I'll give you maybe 5-6 minutes to do this, and then just email it to Paul and I. You're a CPA firm. You want to target a local business, Moneybucks McGee. Okay, you've been after him. You want him to come. But how are you gonna do this? What are 2 things you would do on social media to get their attention in hopes to win their business down the road? So what you gonna do with Moneybucks McGee? Shoot us an email, so casual. Just we would do this A and we would do this B. 2 quick things, what would you do? So my point is that I would really figure that, do you feel oddly special right now? In a way. Nailed it. You know what I mean? That's the point. And so go find these folks, even Moneybucks Magoo, whatever I call them, and go out and really reach out to them in a non-discreet, sort of discreet way. How can you involve, now I wouldn't necessarily tag you. If I wanted you to buy my product, I'm selling deodorant. Just online. By the way, we'll talk about this later, this deodorant, but I would subtly maybe create an article about take something off the web about his grind and how he doesn't have a label and how he started with this and now he's that, that kind of a thing, and say we really respect the hustle or whatever, and maybe tag 10 people so it's less obvious. Now you're oh my gosh, these are my people. See, and so trying to go in there, and yes, it's a lot of work for oneself, but if you start that and you continue it, you've got a lot of potential for growth there. And if you don't, what's your better plan anyway? What's the other plan? Just shotgun approach? Like, come buy Asian food. Like, there's Asian food everywhere, right? So just.
There's really accountants everywhere, so.
I'm sorry that we have to take this down. Do you want to just go keep going back? And the reason I say it is a lot of people that people are stuck. You guys are you're gonna be walking into agencies where they sit around in meetings that are obnoxious for an hour and like, gosh, what could we do? And I'm thinking, I could have made 12 posts in this meeting. But people want to talk about like what and why and who, and like, it's really just go do it and see what works. And you're going to get some pushback from that. A lot of people they're not going to want to go off brand, they're not going to want to do the frequency, they're not going to want to like reach out, and they're going to Chance the Rapper. We sell medical equipment. Like, yeah, but he's good looking and she likes him, and that's what we're doing. That's going to be kind of some hard to sell sometimes. And that's why you have the data to back you up, though, because that's what's going to get a lot of likes. So if you can get them to do it a couple times and show them what works, then you're going to be able to win it. So again, everything can't be on brand. Document over create. Find a follower, thank them with a gift. These are things like how to get unstuck. Lastly, Facebook and all social media cares about is the user experience, not the marketer. So you better know that you've got to look like a user and not a marketer, because we can smell you a million miles away. And again, if nobody interacts with you, doesn't matter on your followers, no one's going to be seeing it. So that is the first piece. Any questions about any of that? I think we're hitting them as we go. No? Yes?
So once you've lost somebody that's already liked your page, and they're already following you, they already like you, but they, organically aren't seeing your content, is the best way to get them back through the boosted posts and targeting your followers, or?
Yes. So go ahead and boost to your followers.
Okay.
And then I would figure out, I would look at the analytics and figure out why did 4 people drop off whenever I posted this? Was it because I was doing a direct sale? I need to back off. I need my frequency to go the other direction. And you know what I mean? Serve, sell. And maybe you need to serve like 3 more, and offset that. Look at the analytics and go backwards and see what happened. Or, even cooler, pick up the phone and call the person. Gosh, we lost you on Facebook. Is there something that I could do differently? I'm the marketing, strategist here. What happened? I would love to know, and I'd also love to have you back. And how can I do that? We're forgetting in all of this, these great ideas, that behind the computer screen and behind the phone is a person. And if you pick up the phone and ask for them and ask, people are going to be shocked. That's my quick answer off the top.
I had a question about Medium, so I know you kind of related it to blog content, but what, if you were to go off the brand, I know it's easier to do that with Facebook and Instagram, but as far as content for Medium, I guess I see it as between like a white paper and like, what kind of content do you recommend for Medium? Like how
What are you doing your internship for?
An agency in town, Webmaster.
Oh yeah.
So they post
Cool.
Medium a lot,
Yeah.
but they're working on doing a white paper right now, and that seems like very subject matter expert type, but then Medium is like, does it need to be more educational or can it be fun, or I don't know, I guess I don't understand the difference.
And again, I would look at the audience, we've done all sorts of we have one client that's Best Flag, and they do the little flags that you see all the time with Realty, the feather flags. One of them was, and they'll make custom flags for anything, and they're really cheap, 2 days. Anyway, they're a great company, and so one of the blogs we wrote recently was for Panhellenic, bigs and littles to buy these as a good gift. So the blog is really, I was thinking really niche, going in really narrowly with that one. We've written blogs for them on churches and why signage in front of your church works so much better than direct mail or email because people are out and about and could make those decisions. So I guess the short answer is you can just do whatever because you kind of can't lose. And no matter what, if somebody is searching, or maybe one for PTO moms, trying to get a banner at the football game, tailgate. So anybody that's searching, flag tailgate now, how many blogs are written about that. Now, like, you sort through the analytics. So I kind of think you can do some shotgun, and then you can do some, like, you know, scoped stuff.
So it's a blogging platform, and you can tag up to 5 different topics. And so, have you posted on Medium yet?
No, I haven't. I use it, and I've seen like what they posted back.
Okay, so you use it as a reader?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like as short or as long as you want. I would not hesitate to post a white paper on Medium. I post really short blogs every day, and sometimes I go up to like 1,000 or 2,000 words, just depending on, like, to Kate's point, trying everything and tagging different types of tags with each post to see which ones get like the applause on Medium, and like which ones get more followers. And then Red Pepper's outstanding, by the way, so hopefully you're having a good experience with them. You'll learn a lot, and they're really, really good at what they do. So yeah, Medium's interesting. It's like, it's still growing. I don't think, like, when you compare Medium to all the other platforms we've talked about, it's still like an infant. So I think users and publishers on Medium are still trying to figure out what's best. And so using it, posting every day is the best thing to do. And I did see where, I'm actually going to do this next week, you can sign up to be a official content publisher. Like with your directory listing, like buy for X amount of dollars a month, you can have your directory listing and all that. So picture 20 years of thousands of websites, as credible as yellowpages.com, all the way down to like anyone who wants to try to scam somebody and create their own directory website and try to charge for it with no web traffic. The point is that there's hundreds of thousands of directory websites out there that have incorrect business information. And so brands and local businesses that don't clean up all of those listings and have accurate information on them, it's hurting their local SEO. So when you search for Nashville clothing store for women, if there's a boutique shop that doesn't have correct business information throughout all these directories, their ranking's going to suffer. They're not going to be as likely to get up on page 1, because Google, as an algorithm, is getting all of its information and auditing and figuring out what's credible by what's consistent throughout all these business directories. So there's this slide, actually, if you go to this slide. So like Google, it's like, this is what's happening with Google. It's saying, where is Goodfellas Pizzeria? And this would be the optimal thing where these people are actually websites, the directory sites I was just talking about. So if Google sees this, where it's all the same exact accurate business information, it's going to help rise everybody up to the top of page 1. So there's this service that we use that is actually, more and more people are using it. It's called Yext. So brand, even small, I talked to like a local business out of Detroit yesterday that's a fencing company. And I never would have thought they'd even known about Yext, but they're using Yext. So it's like, basically to avoid this, you can use the Yext API to just enter the local business information one time, and then it cleans up the hundreds of thousands of directory sites in real time all the time. So it's just a subscription-based service that agencies use, brands use, and so you guys might have you might run into that wherever you go work. There's a good chance you will, because what will happen is, even Google, if you've noticed, when you Google something related to a local business, do you ever see like multiple listings with different information, different names? So the reason for that is because Google keeps changing. Like every few years they change. They went from like Google Places to Google something, I forget. Now it's Google My Business. And so the Google My Business listing, it's very common for local businesses to have multiple listings with incorrect information. Yext will hit everything except Google. So it'll hit Facebook, Foursquare, Yelp, it'll hit everything. A lot of times brands like to get in and do those major platforms on their own, which is great. If they're smaller local businesses, they probably don't. Maybe Yelp, but not so much the others. And so the verifying the Google My Business profile is super easy to do. It's just totally hidden under everything. And it's probably like the lowest hanging fruit for SEO. So if you're like being asked to consult in any way, or be a part of a team? Like, how do we improve our local search? Probably the lowest hanging fruit is going to be start to like Google and look at the directory listings and see if they're incorrect. See if there's a verified Google My Business page. That's where, some of you may know this already, but that's where you just go into business.google.com, search for your business. If the business information is incorrect, there'll be a little button in there that'll say, is this your listing? Click here to verify. And then the form you fill out will mail a postcard to that physical address to verify that it's actually your business. The postcard will have a PIN number on it. You go back into Google and enter the PIN. Then it's verified. Then you can change the information and you can delete the duplicate listing. So that's why it's like, I mean, 9.5 times out of 10 businesses are like pulling their hair out. How do we handle this? And it's that easy. Just taking the time to do that.
And go for the spend, ask for the spend for Yext.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it and it's something that you can't do as a marketer unless like every Friday you want to block out 9 to noon. Like there's no prayer. Just let Yext do it. They're worth the money. It's definitely the spend to make for sure because they'll do the meta crawler stuff for you. And it's just something that you can't do in house. No one can. Yeah.
Is Yext just the location or can it do like hours and that kind of stuff too?
It can do, yes. It's actually like a very long form with probably about 50 fields that you can fill out. So hours, description, you can upload photos, and then whatever directory site in the Yext family, like partners, that they shoot their API data to, can handle from that feed, it'll show. So it's really actually pretty robust.
When I drove the ball, I had to actually go and make sure they were all updated or for revisions. But like once they were updated, like what else was there? Like what else was there?
So there's a few things actually, and this is another thing that changes all the time. They just added a feature where you can add images and like sort of little mini blog postings to the listing, and it's usually it's always been through Google Plus. So like Google's still trying to make Google Plus relevant in some way. And the way that they're trying to do that is by, like if you I call Google a lot, and so I'll call them and just ask. So one of the things they told me was posting on your Google Plus page can help with your local SEO. And I actually see the results of that. So to answer your question, I would say like make posts to the Google Plus page. Similar to what we talked about with the other social strategies, just know that users are going to interact with it through Google Plus. The purpose is going to be to do what you're asking, which is basically move up the map listing. So you guys know, like you make a search, you see top of the page could most likely be ads, 3 ads. Then you get map. Then you get maybe more ads, depending on if anyone's bidding on it. Then you get organic. And on the right side, depending on your geolocation or your device, you get Google My Business listing, right? So making posts will enhance the probability that your Google business listing on the right-hand side will show for search phrases not related to your business as well. So branded search, like if your business is Johnny's Pizzeria, if you search Johnny's Pizzeria Nashville, that's when your Google My Business listing. When you make posts and update that through Google Plus, you're going to get more likely to have that real estate on the right-hand side, which is pretty valuable, show for like best pizzeria in Nashville. More likely. Not ever a guarantee, honestly. So this is where we talk about Yelp. To Kate's point, we hit all this already, but yeah, it's like $20 a month per location. So when you have hundreds of locations, it gets costly, but then they can give you partnership with this plan. This is like kind of just the visualization of the major ones that Yext API hits. I'm trying to keep the SEO simple for right now and focused because that SEO can get. I'm happy to answer any search engine optimization questions that any of you have either today or next Friday, or even like email me after or whatever. But it can get like real long-winded and convoluted and stuff. So I think that's pretty much it. Here's what I just talked about with the visualizations of the search engine, results pages. Does anyone have any questions about that? Like, you guys probably see different results all the time. I'm happy to kind of break that down if anyone has any questions on that. Otherwise, we can keep going. I get asked that. Like, so I get asked all the time by clients, why, when I Google XYZ, how come Susan Googles XYZ and sees us in the top spot, and I don't even see us on page 1? So that is due to a few different things. It can be due to search history. Susan could have Googled that phrase over and over and over again over the last 30 days to 2 years to 5 years, the last time she cleared her browser cache or whatever. And she could have found wherever the company was ranked on page 5, and she could have clicked there a few times. Then Google is going to know that that's Susan. And that's what Susan's looking for when she Googles. So we're going to actually put that business number 1 for Susan. So it can get really confusing for clients. The best way to get true results is through something called Google Webmaster Tools or Search Console. We're going to show you exactly where your business, that's a free tool to talk more about that next Friday. Organic review generation, this is where, actually back to your question, the more Google reviews you can generate for your business through that local business listing that's verified, that's another next step. That's very practical. So you can say, all right, our plan is I'm going to post more, I'm going to see how that works, I'm going to test that, but then we're also going to do a review generation strategy. Some of the best review generation strategies are really just like boots on the ground, practical stuff, like a local plumbing company that brings an iPad with them to get a review after they are done and they're getting the check or the credit card, swiping the credit card payment. And it's as practical as just like, hey, I mean, don't feel obligated, but if you have, feel like I did a good job today, like, would you mind reviewing us on Google here? I mean, that's a great way to do it. Or at like the point of sale. And the purpose is to drive, that does drive the organic ranking for anyone, not just Susan, who's got it, cached in her browser. It'll drive the organic ranking for everybody.
And to your question too, like if you only have those 4 locations, and let's say you missed 3 of these, like City Search, and MapQuest and Yahoo, just because you didn't think to go there, that this is something that Yext will do constantly for you, and especially as an agency of any size, it's worth that subscription to be able to, to have them take care of that for you.
That's right. So this is if you're doing an internship and you're thinking, all right, we're going to do a version of what he just said about the sort of point of sale contact. But to Kate's point, if you do it through Yext and not just the Google review on what everybody can do, then Yext will allow you to send that to all of those listing sites, which is more valuable. And this is where, so you can also do like a past customer list. So you can take a past customer list of either phone numbers or emails, and you can upload it to Yext, and then send out just basically like a simple landing page. And if it's text, if it's like SMS based, it'll show up as like an iMessage or an SMS message, and it'll be right there on the mobile device for them to review. Then it gets shot through Yext's API out to those review sites. So that's an upgrade from the local business listing for them, but it's very affordable as well. So if your company's going to commit to something like that, that's a good option.
So this is like a very specific question, but I work for executive education at Owen, basically. So we're housed within Owen's SEO strategy, but we also have kind of our own for exec ed. So I don't think we would technically be our own like small business listing on Google, but we have customers who come in for like short programs, for 2 or 3 day long programs, basically, and I could get their reviews and have, I don't know if I got their reviews, could I post that to a Google page or like the Google listing or something like that? Because like that's something, I mean, our SEO, they worked on a lot, so.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can do that, and use the whole Owen page plus exec ed as well. They use certain like search terms or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Especially if in their review they're mentioning exec ed.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But to be able to get an entire list of past customers, I mean, that's invaluable. I mean, that's worth it right there. The subscription. We have 10 minutes just to.
Okay. Yeah, and this is just kind of how that works, where it'll just be their name, their email, and then their star rating and their comments. So it's asking them to just tap a star rating and put in any comments, and it'll.
Do you trust a family member or a review on Google when you're going to purchase something? The data says there's an answer, but what's your answer? Do you read through the Google reviews or like the TripAdvisor reviews or whatever the reviews are, or would you trust your parent? The data says that you trust a Google review over your family, over your own mother.
Yeah, I mean,
and when I bought that deodorant, like my mom had never used it.
And Maggie doesn't like good movies, right? We just talked about that.
Right. So I mean, I think because you can go through and see maybe somebody that's more like-minded than you, than like your own family member would be, you know. So that does kind of make sense, but that's important too. Another one that UX will not help you with this. You have to grind, but if somebody's giving you a bad review, people want it off, and people are freaking out. And you know, you've got clients going, "Oh, they giving us a bad review. We got 2 stars." The only way that you can reverse that is to give good reviews and to bury it. You can't take it down. If it's not warranted, in other words, like it's just malicious, you can call and possibly have them take it down. But realistically, if there's like a Band-Aid in the Chinese, you're just gonna have to just love them up until the Band-Aid drops. Because you really got you gotta be just on the offense and asking for lots of them, just in case you get a 2, that you had enough 5s to offset the 2 in case of an emergency.
So this is like the go on offense thing too. You guys can probably tell we have like this undertone of like what we've run into in the past. And so one of the things we run into a lot, like the social media pushback is, well, we don't want to do, and this comes from like the executives, we don't want to do review generation because what if somebody says something negative about us? But you can't play defense with this. Like people are going to review you. You have no control over it. So if you play offense, then the good will outweigh the bad. And that's really the only way to do reputation management correctly is to just build. And when there is a Band-Aid in the Chinese, like do everything you can to flip that one person, because then when you flip that person, then they come back and become your biggest advocate. I've upset so many people in like some B2C stuff that I've done, and like I've wanted to fight with them because I'm so busy or whatever, but like in each case where I actually came back around and did something for them, that person became the biggest advocate and then like told 10 of their friends about it, and then that's how you do that. This is the UX dashboard, so if you're getting pushback on any of this kind of stuff, you will have analytics to show the decision maker, like what's the return on investment on this. You'll have this dashboard of all the, so that they might not believe you, like, oh, okay, hundreds of thousands of directory sites, okay, well, it'll show you all the different ones, and you'll show it to that person one time, and they're like, okay, yep, it's working. Fu Lin's,
Fun fact, not fun fact, but he got food poisoning from this restaurant, and it's an Asian restaurant. Sorry, this is a double dip for
my
me.
Favorite thing.
Fourth base. Fourth base.
Sushi. Anyway, all right. So I'm probably not. I'm not gonna review them.
Jennifer Colin, that's also funny. This is a lot of layers for me.
All right.
It was wicked. It was wicked.
Actually,
Any other
food poisoning from villains.
Stop. Recently?
We might have to review Fu Lin's
It was
right
like 2
now.
years ago, the one
We never reviewed them.
What role
It's
was
like you're sick. That's the last thing you want to do is be like,
no.
oh my gosh, food poisoning.
Mine was the Fu Lin's special one, or Snow Fu Lin's sandwich one.
How did you know it was that role?
Because I like got it a couple weeks earlier and loved it. I'm like, get it next time, and the next time I got it, I was.
I didn't want to miss
That was the day we were supposed to be here. It's
The non-snow day.
non-snow day. Do you think we should just break here? Is food ready?
It's ready, yeah.
Yeah, because this kind of like goes in a different direction now into the second course.